Now, how do you stop caring about what other people think about you? Well, the truth is, you don't. The truth is, you start caring more and more about what you think about you. As a matter of fact, you don't just stop thinking about what people are saying about you, what people are thinking about you, what you think people are saying or thinking about you. That's not the goal. The goal is to care about what you think about you. The goal is to care so much about how you feel about your own vision, your own dreams, your own aspiration, your own very life, that the other becomes irrelevant. That's the goal. That's the end goal. That's what we're looking to get to. We're not looking to say, nobody's opinion matters and I'm just going to stand in that, because that has no substance. It has no life. It doesn't mean anything. We're looking to get to a point where we are so involved within our own story, where we become the authors of our own story, where we become so intertwined with life that we forget completely about what anybody else could be saying about us. That when somebody else has an opinion, our belief is so strong within that purpose, that vision that we have for our life, that everything else becomes secondary, that everything else becomes noise compared to it. And that's what I want to talk about today. It is, how do we fall back in love with our own life story? Remember when you were a kid, right? And you saw something that gravitated towards you. You saw something that resonated with your spirit. And you wanted that so badly. You wanted to be that thing. You wanted to live and express yourself as something greater than what you saw yourself as in the very moment. So much so to where you would embody it. You would see yourself as it. When you went to close your eyes at night, or when you open your eyes, or when you open your eye in your mind, you would see a vision that was so clear of who you wanted to be. You could feel it. There were sensations running through your body that you were this thing, that you could be this thing, that you could walk as this thing. You were convicted by this, right? You were possessed almost by this belief. And when somebody told you that you could not be that thing, you would shut them down automatically. You would tell them that they were wrong, that you were that thing. I don't care if it was a Tyrannosaurus Rex that you thought that you were. You were in so much conviction that you were that thing, that you embodied the spirit of that thing, that nobody else could tell you any differently. And when I'm talking about belief, that's the type of belief I'm talking about. I'm talking about the type of belief within the vision of your life. And when I say a vision of your life, I'm not only talking about a career. I'm not talking about only a relationship or, the external factors. I'm talking about the being, the embodiment of something, the way that you walk or the way that you move through life. That's what I'm getting to here. There is a point that comes when you are so invested in your own life that you start to move different, that you start to speak different, that you start to express yourself differently within this life. And when you are in that place, when you're in that form, no other opinion could ever matter. There cannot be any other opinion. There cannot be any other belief. Now, there is an idea, but it is actually a universal truth, right? So there is a truth that the strongest belief will always win. If you have something that you're moving towards, let's say you had a goal that you're intending towards. If you had a goal to, let's say, drop 75 pounds, right? And you had a true conviction towards that goal, and you use all the willpower in the world to get to that goal. However, you had a belief system that said you can't do it, or you had a belief system that says you don't deserve it. It does not matter how much willpower you exert. It does not matter how much of your absolute force you give to that thing. It will not come to pass. Or it might come to pass for the short term, but soon you will return from where you once came. Why? Because belief always wins, and the strongest belief will always win. So if you have two beliefs that are opposed to each other, one says I can do it, but there's a stronger belief that says, but I can actually do all things if I learn the necessary skills or the necessary tools or whatever it is. Or, one belief says, it's hard for me to lose weight, but then the greater belief says, but there's nothing that is impossible for me to do when I am tapped into my source. If that is the greatest belief that you have, then that belief is going to win out every single time. And so when we're looking to overcome the thoughts of other people, to overcome the anxiety that comes from, moving through life, trying to please everybody or trying to mold and shift the way we live our lives in order to make sure that other people approve of our own existence, in order for us to step away or step out of that way of being and to step into a more authentic space, we have to do this one thing. And that is to start to develop a belief system within ourselves that is more powerful, more compelling, more compelling. That's the key one right there. I got to take a sip of this big old water right here because we're going to need an extra set of lungs for this. We need a belief that is so compelling that whatever story you have been telling yourself this far no longer matters. It is eradicated from time continuum, period. That you are willing to do what is necessary to form a new belief in the first place. Because beliefs are ingrained in most cases, but it doesn't mean that they are temporary. I mean, they are permanent, right? They are temporarily fixed. Every belief that we have is temporary. However, some are harder wired than others. Some have been there for a longer time. Some have more momentum behind them. Some have deeper convictions behind them. Some have more of an addiction around them, right? Therefore, we must learn, first and foremost, how to even develop a belief. And this isn't going to be a 55-minute lecture on how to develop a belief simply because you don't need one. It's quite simple. Yet most of us complicate the process so we can have an excuse or a way out of doing something about it. I know y'all. Trust me. We're grown folks. We can have grown folk talk. I know how we are. We take things, we complicate them and say, I can't do it, when really it's A, B, and C. So how do you develop a belief? Thank you for asking. A belief is nothing more than a thought that has been repeated time and time again until it has shown itself as quote unquote true within our manifested reality or within our physical experience. So therefore, a belief is simply at the root a thought that you think or that you practice time and time again, that you intentionally or unintentionally ruminate or fixate or meditate upon time and time again until it becomes ingrained, until it becomes second nature. Therefore, in order to create a new belief, it is as simple as repeating a new thought that then becomes your automatic thought. And it is necessary for us, in order to overcome this thing of caring about what other people think, in order for us to live a life that is free from the bondage of other people's perception, it is absolutely necessary for us to start to build beliefs that are so compelling to us that nothing else can move or shake them. Now, the reason I'm not going to choose a belief for you, the reason that I'm not going to choose a story that's compelling is because I'm not you. Though we are connected divinely, I am not you. I don't know what your thing is. I don't know what gets you up at night. I don't know what it is that moves you in your spirit. What is the thing that truly gives you life, right? I don't know what that is, but I don't have to. All I need to know is that you have it, because every single one of us have it. Why? Because all things in life have purpose. Everything serves a purpose. We are all created with purpose. There is not one living, inanimate, or animate object, being, species on this planet, on this or in this universe, multiverse, whatever it may be, nothing that does not serve its purpose. Therefore, you have a purpose. And in order for you to align yourself with that purpose, you must first come back in contact with source. You must first come back in contact with your origins place, with your original space, with that place within you where God dwells, period. You got to get back to that place. Now, for some of us, we already know what it is that brings us life, that brings us vibrance, that brings us to that place of connection, of divinity. We know what it is that connects us back to source. We know our purpose, but we're just not living it out. Most of us know what we're called to do, but we're just not doing it. And simply because We're waiting on somebody's permission, or we're afraid that if we step into purpose, if we step into our calling, that somebody's not going to agree with it, that we're not going to get the necessary quote unquote support from our surroundings, that the individuals around us won't understand us, won't accept us. We are basing our own steps in life off of what everybody else thinks. And that's why this matters. And it wouldn't matter if there wasn't something deeper here. It wouldn't matter if you cared more what somebody else thought about you than you cared about what you think about yourself. It would not matter if it was not stopping you and holding you back from living the fullness of your life. And that's something I know. Why? Because I've lived more life in that place than I have outside of that space. And now that I am outside of that space and I walk more authentically and I live an authentic life, and people, even the people who love me, can tell me one thing, but I'm still not going to follow those words. Why? Not because I want to be ignorant. It's not because I want to be stubborn or hard-headed, but because they cannot know better for my life than I do. Because I'm the one who was given the roadmap for my own existence. Nobody else was given your God-given vision. Nobody else could be given your God-given vision. It's between you and your creator, period. So, I want to get back to this point of creating this belief within yourself that is so compelling. When I say compelling, I mean it draws you, it drives you, right? And that belief, again, for all of us at the core of it, is that this thing is more important. This thing is more vital. This thing is more crucial than the opinions of others. Because frankly, the opinions of others are fleeting. People are going to think one thing one day, then another thing the next day. It doesn't matter if it's your mama, your daddy, your uncle, your sister, your cousin, your nephew, your grandma, your grand. Like, it does not matter what the title of the individual is. People's opinions are fleeting, and they are based on their own perception, on their own limited perception. And I heard this quote once that said, "How can you base the perception of a giraffe from the eyes of an ant?" An ant has a perception of the ground. The giraffe sees the horizon. How can you compare these two? Therefore, how can you go to an ant as a giraffe looking to get advice about what you should do and how you should move and what you should quote unquote eat? Chew on that one. So, how do you stop caring about what people think about you? You tap into a place where you start to believe in yourself at such a deep level that it no longer matters what anybody else has to say about you. That's when it becomes irrelevant when anybody else thinks. Because when you don't have that belief, it's automatically replaced with other people's opinion. When you don't have that strength in where you stand, you don't have that solidification of your position in your life. You will go to and fro. You'll be blown by the wind. Anybody's opinion will do. But when you stand in your conviction, when you stand in your purpose, you stand for your truth and you stand for your vision, and you continue to march forward, no wind can blow you out the water. I promise you no wind can blow you out the water. I promise you that. No wind, no storm, nothing in life can take you off of that path when your conviction is that powerful, because it's a conviction that is now coming from within you, and it's something that is stabilized within you. It's something that is true. It's something that is genuine. So I will end up making another video that will do a deeper dive in just about belief systems and building belief systems. I have done some content in the past, and I have plenty of short form content around this idea. Why? Because it matters, and it matters more than we will ever imagine it does. Because the beliefs that we have create the identity that we hold, and our identity manifests as the life that we live. So, if you are somebody who is currently in this space or in this state in their life, you are finding yourself making this transition in life, right? Growing spiritually, becoming the individual that you know God had you to be in this life. I want to make sure that I can at least be a resource within this time. So make sure to book a free consultation call where we will go over strategy, we will go over a game plan, see where you are, and I want to see within that call if I will be the right coach for you moving forward at this point going on. If not, perfectly fine. Sometimes it's just a thing of timing being in alignment. Sometimes it is somebody else being the one for you. But what I care most about is at least seeing if I am called to be one of the guides within your experience right now, because I know the necessity of having somebody within this process. And again, I can't drink the water for you. I can't make you jump into that water, but I can at least lead you to it. I can coach you to it. I can guide you to it, and I can guide you through it. And so I want at least that opportunity for the both of us. So make sure to click the link in the description below. Make sure to book a call for a time that works for you and I. We'll get on a call. We'll see what happens. And I appreciate you for your time.